How about Google's Nexus 7? The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Hey, welcome in once again to another edition of Roadrunner Rundown, the official program CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Corey Costello with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Another great program planned for you. And wow, just a busy weekend that happened last week, and we're going to have a lot of the highlights and scores from that weekend, but it's a great time of year. We've got baseball underway, basketball continuing, and right now starting to get some momentum both on the men's and women's side. That's going to be a big focus of our show today. We will be speaking on the program with women's basketball head coach Greg McCall coming up at 10:30. Also, men's basketball redshirt junior forward Brandon Barnes will join us on the show as well in the final segment. And first guest of the show today will be our very own faculty athletics rep, Dr. Roy LaFever. She's got some great academic news when it comes in terms of CSUB student athletes. So that's coming up on the program today. But a great time of year, and what a great weekend it was for Roadrunner Athletics. A big win for women's basketball, a couple big wins for men's hoops. Baseball with a sweep. We'll have a lot of stuff coming up in a few minutes as well, and a new Corey Versus as well on the program. So loaded show today. Dr. Roy LaFever, Greg McCall, and Brandon Barnes all on the program. But you know what? It is time to get to some of those highlights from what was a busy weekend in Roadrunner Athletics. We will start with men's basketball. Bakersfield, Thursday night's action at the Icardo Center, looking for their first conference win at home. And early on, it was Brandon Barnes asserting his dominance inside, rebounded a putback, and then Barnes with the drive with a nice finish over the top in the post. Bakersfield built a 10-point lead, but Idaho would come back to take the lead as well in the half. Then, it was Brandon Barnes again for the Roadrunners, this time showing off some range with the three. He led Bakersfield with 16. Second half, Bakersfield down by a point. Corey Hall, the rebound and the putback, and one as Idaho then takes the lead back. But then Javante Maynard takes the lead for good, fading away on this late three in the shot clock. And then, it was the Ali Ahmed show. Ahmed going hard to the rack. He would score 8 straight for the Runners as he had a double-double, 16 points, 13 rebounds, and he, gave a good defensive effort as well with that swat right there. How about more from Brandon Barnes? This guy was all over the place to keep pace with Ahmed, obviously. Barnes with the finish in the paint there for CSUB. And then Brandon Barnes defensively getting the steal. Remember, he missed a dunk a couple weeks ago, not tonight. He throws it down with authority as Bakersfield takes a 4-point lead. Then it's Tyrell Corbin off the bench. He takes the nice kiss off the glass. And Corey Hall, he hasn't hit many threes this season, but draining one here, and one good turn deserves another. Here's Maynard with a three, and they call the foul. He converts a 4-point play. Then Corey Hall again from the elbow. Bakersfield is in control. More from Ahmed. Look at this move. You're just not stopping the beast from the Middle East right there. Look at that finish. And Bakersfield fighting through the trap. Ty Corbin, can he get up? He does. And the throwdown, Runners win this one 76-67.
We're going to ask questions. I thank God. These guys probably have worked as hard as any team that I've had in the history of my career and had nothing to show for it. And they've stayed strong. And I've continued to say, hey, I believe in this guys. I believe in this team. I believe it's going to turn our way. Have guys like Corey Hall and Ty Corbin that haven't been playing, but they've been practicing hard. And they stepped up big for us tonight. And it was a huge win for us.
So the Roadrunners winning their first WAC home game. This was Thursday night, 76-67. Ali Ahmed, 16 points. That's a career high. 13 rebounds, his second double-double of the season. Then the Roadrunners turning around on Saturday, making it 2 in a row. The first time they were able to get 2 straight wins in conference play as they beat Seattle 83-65. 5 players in double digits, led by Isaiah Grayson's 22 points. Runners now jump to a 5th-place tie in the standings, and the team they're going to be facing, that they are tied with is the team they will see on Thursday night in Kansas City. The Kansas City Roos, 7 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. Bakersfield losing to Kansas City in pretty much heartbreaking fashion last time, a buzzer beater for the Roos in Bakersfield. Then the Runners will take on the team right ahead of them in the standings, Chicago State, on Saturday afternoon. That game tips at 2 o'clock Central Time as well in the Windy City. So the Roadrunners have a busy weekend for them coming up in the Midwest as they're taking on two teams ahead of them in the standings. Other scores from around the Western Athletic Conference. It was first place Utah Valley holding on with a victory over Idaho, 89-88 in Orem, despite 42 points from Idaho's Steve Madison. Then it was New Mexico State remaining a game back of Utah Valley with an 84-55 win over Chicago State at home. And Kansas City, who the Runners will see on Thursday, losing their second game of the weekend, 65-59 at Pan American. On to women's basketball. Bakersfield with a big weekend last weekend on the road as well, and they handled business. How about this on Thursday's action? Idaho was unbeaten, first place in the conference. The Runners go to Moscow, and they drop the hammer, 79-60. Runners handing the Vandals their first conference loss. Bakersfield getting a double-double from Tyna Outland, 24 points, 10 rebounds in the win. Also 18 from Melissa Sweat, 15 from Deji Vines. Then on Saturday, the Roadrunners, well, Seattle had a lot of shots from the free throw line. We'll leave it at that, and you can fill in the blanks from there. But Seattle winning 74-67, snapping Bakersfield's 7-game win streak. The Runners, though, still in second place in the Western Athletic Conference with 5 games to play. Here's what Bakersfield has coming up. The Roadrunners will be at home hosting Kansas City Thursday night at the Icardo Center, and then they will also be home on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. The Runners hosting Chicago State at the Icardo Center as well, and that will be an important weekend for the Runners as well as they try to continue on this pretty good stretch. I mean, they had their 7-game win streak snap, but still a very good basketball team, and they're pushing for that 2 and maybe even 1 spot still in Western Athletic Conference play. Well, here it was a great week because baseball started as well, which meant busy days, long nights, but fun afternoons as the Roadrunners sweeping Milwaukee. Here was Friday's game, 8-3. The Runners winning that one. Taylor Aikenhead getting the win on the mound. Then Saturday, Bakersfield battled back from an early deficit to beat Milwaukee 8-4. Chance Guspeth with a big game, including CSUB's first home run at Hartfield in 2 seasons. Then Sunday, Austin Davis getting the win for CSUB as they took down Milwaukee again, 9-3. By the way, on a note from Chance Guspeth, congratulations to Guspeth, the WAC Player of the Week. How about this number? He hit .583 on the weekend. He was 7 for 12. He had 3 runs scored, 6 runs batted in, 2 walks, 1 double, that home run I spoke of. His slugging percentage was .917. His on-base percentage was .667. He was on fire as the sophomore from Lancaster wins WAC Player of the Week honors. On to what's coming up for Bakersfield. They're playing a couple games this week, midweek games at Santa Barbara and Wednesday at Irvine. Then they return home this weekend. Another 3-game series. This will be Towson coming in from Maryland. First pitch Friday and Saturday at 6 o'clock, and Sunday, first pitch scheduled for 1 p.m. On to wrestling. Bakersfield concluding their regular season this past weekend. Sunday, the Roadrunners wrapping up their Pac-12 dual schedule, losing to Arizona State 22-15. Runners now heading to Pac-12 championship Sunday at Stanford. So Bakersfield Arizona State had to rally, but they do take down the Runners in this one 22-15 as they will get ready for the Pac-12 championships next weekend. Well, that'll do it with a lot of highlights and a lot of stuff from this past weekend. But more importantly, is we got a chance to, sand volleyball is actually getting close to starting. We spoke with Coach Olivia Simcoe a couple weeks ago, and so I thought, you know what, we have a new facility on campus. Let's go out and let's play some sand volleyball on this week's edition of Corey Versus. And we're here on Corey Versus. We are with Olivia Simcoe, who is our interim sand volleyball coach. Now we're out here in the new complex. This is beautiful, by the way, and we're going to do a couple of drills today. So what exactly are we going to be exposing myself to today?
The first one, we're going to work on our control. We're going to work on getting our feet to the pass, squaring up on the set, getting our feet there on the hit, keeping the ball in front of us, and just hitting to you every time. And our setters are going to get their feet there and set you really well. Just watch. And then I'm going to try to hit it over. That'll be the fun of that. And then the second part. The second part, we're going to have you be exposed on one side of the court by yourself, and the girls are just going to serve bomb you. See how many passes you can get out.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well last time when I was inside, so we'll give it a shot. I do have a visor on, which looks pretty pro volleyball style, but I got to probably flip it up, right? Right? Do I have to do that? Is that required?
That looks great.
That's beach volleyball. That's beach volleyball. So, all right, here we go. First of all, the sand is nice. It's like having a beach in Bakersfield. I'm being partnered up as they rotate through. Let's see how this goes. A couple of awful swings to start things off. Maybe I'm not a hitter per se. Let's change my approach. Well, it turns out I'm not a blocker either. How about that? Fernanda and I record my first kill on a defensive bump. Fernanda then saves my bacon with a nice shot of her own. That's 2 in a row. Sarah Little and I make it 3 straight. I'm getting pretty good at this.
All right, start here.
And maybe not so much. But then I hit the line on my last one. A great way to end this portion. On to the firing squad. They're just going to pepper me with serves. My technique is pretty good. That's from years on the beach, by the way, albeit drinking beer and building bonfires, but it all counts. Not gonna lie, that one hurt bad. I believe I bounced in slow motion and bruised the rib. No joke. But I'm a gamer and I play through it. The ladies like my effort there, even though it was out.
You got it, Corey! Yeah. I know. I'm scared I was gonna.
How about that ugly attempt? I'm still getting dirty, but I'm spent as well. Right. This sand stuff is hard work.
Runners on 3. 1, 2, 3, runners!
I did seriously get hurt. That's the first time that I actually got hurt doing something that stupid. I was diagnosed with bruised ribs from the training room, but I think we're okay now. We got over it. It took a few days, but needless to say, that is our first injury on Corey Versus. Thanks to the ladies in the sand, and yes, it is that hard. Running around in sand is not easy, but it's very nice. It is it's a beautiful new facility, and their schedule for sand volleyball and their home matches are up online right now at GoRunners.com. We're stepping away and take a break. When we come back, we're talking good academic news. We've got that with our faculty athletics rep, Dr. Roy LaFever. That is next. Stick around. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield, Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit kernbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on kernbusinessjournal.com.
Brave and bold, silver and gold.
We're on a mission. Aggie up.
Bronx Country just got a whole lot bigger.
Mighty Wolverines of UVU.
Join the herd. Lopes up.
Bold moves, big season, grew up.
We are the new gold standard.
We will be champions.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the big dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
All session passes on sale now for $165 by calling 654-BLUE. And we're back here on Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us as we continue on the program. And, we have so many things happening right now on the field of competition, on the court of competition. This time of year as sports sort of overlap and we get to the exciting part for basketball and baseball and softball starting as well, wrestling getting ready for their championships. But you know what? When we have so much good stuff happening on the court and on the fields, it's always good to sometimes step back and talk about some of the other things that are happening in the classroom, and that's what our next guest is here to do today. He is our faculty athletics rep, and he is a professor of chemistry at CSUB, Dr. Roy LaFever. Dr. LaFever, thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here and glad to talk about our student athletes and their academics. This is midterm time of the quarter, so it's something that's on their minds, and glad to have an opportunity to come down here.
Jeff Coney, our athletics director, a couple weeks ago called me and said, you have to get Dr. LaFever on the show. He's got great academic news. So we're going to kind of dive into a little bit, but what are a couple things that you I guess can brag about the student athletes a little bit here recently in terms of their academic success?
Well, when you say recently, I kind of look at it from a broader perspective over the last couple of years since I've been involved. And, one particular story that needs to be told is the successes in basketball. Our men's and women's basketball academically have been doing quite well. The men in particular, 3 or 4 years ago, there was some real difficulties with academics. Yeah. And since Coach Barnes has come on board, there's been a real turnaround academically. In fact, I was looking over some of the data this morning. In 2011, the overall GPA for the men's basketball team, the average GPA, was 1.9. It's currently almost 3.0 under Coach Barnes and Jeff Connerow and the great deal that they've done to enhance the academic side of their operation. Yeah. Right now, they're in line to graduate 8 players this year.
Wow.
Which is a great achievement in men's basketball. There's 2 of them that are qualifying for graduation this quarter, 6 next quarter.
Wow.
If I look at the fall quarter results, there were 9 players on that team that had grade point averages above 3.0.
Wow.
5 of those 9 made the dean's list.
Wow.
So, I mean that is just a snapshot of one particular team, and sort of the evolution and successes over the last couple of years. But that story you see throughout athletics.
Yeah.
I think men's basketball, the story emerges a little bit more prominently because it's a marquee sport and some of the difficulties they've had in the past. But if you look across our student athletes, they're really doing quite well academically relative to other programs, and especially if you look in the history of CSUB.
One thing that came to mind as well in terms of the basketball was a couple years, it was what they call, basically it's graduation rates, but the NCAA refers to it as APR, and academic progress. And a couple years ago, Coach Barnes was good ready for his second year, and they, the NCAA came out and said, well, you're not going to be eligible for postseason because you haven't graduated enough players. We go back, we get some new data, and they say, okay, you're not banned, but you're really. I mean, I'm talking like the line we had was like that thin. I mean, there was not a lot of wiggle room, and that meant that Coach had to graduate his players. And I mean, he was able to do that. And now the APR scores, I guess, coming out here after this next year are going to be, tremendous and through the roof.
Yeah. No, actually, I hadn't mentioned APR, but. With respect to men's basketball, in 2010, 2011, the APR was roughly 880, 890, somewhere in that range. I don't have my glasses, so I can't see the specific number. That number currently is 1,000. And let me explain APR just a little bit. I think it's important to understand what this is. That APR is essentially a academic success average of a particular team. And how the NCAA has defined this is every individual player, they're eligible for 2 points, call them APR points.
Right.
One is for maintaining eligibility. That's being academically successful, passing their classes, having enough units that go towards their degree.
Right.
So that's one of those points, eligibility, maintaining it. The second one is a retention point. So this APR number is essentially a percentage with a base 1,000, kind of like a batting average. So if you have a number of 890, that is 89% of the possible points were received.
Yeah.
So we've gone from 890 3 years ago, to a perfect APR for the current academic year. That's almost unprecedented in men's basketball, to have a perfect APR.
And every senior that Coach Barnes has coached over the last 3 years, and you talked about these 8, have graduated.
That's right.
I mean,
they've graduated.
I think the institution has never seen that happen before.
No, they haven't.
I mean, it's incredible.
It it really takes an individual like Coach Barnes that not only has the basketball coaching prowess, but also has the educational needs of his students first and foremost in his mind, and it's been a tremendous turnaround.
Let's talk about just from a program-wide standpoint. I've been around the program for several years, and a lot of the academic stuff fell onto the coaches, and they were happy to do it. But obviously, with other coaching duties and things and pressures to win games, that stuff sometimes fell away. Now, here we are in 2014. We have the Kegley Student Success Center where they can study and all kinds of and meet with groups and all that stuff. We have academic advisors. We have an assistant or associate AD for academics in Dina. And we have people that are traveling with our teams to make sure they can get their midterms taken. I mean, as a professor, you looking at this, I mean, what do you feel? How do you like, I guess, the progress that's been made as far as giving support to the student athletes?
Oh, I think the progress is tremendous, and I most certainly like it, and applaud it, appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. Since CSUB has officially gone Division I, there's been a continual evolution of the academic support system. Most recently, athletics has brought on an administrator that's real focus is academics. This is the Associate Director for Academics. she resides in the Kegley Center and really has her finger on the pulse of all these student athletes, all the various teams and what the specific issues are. And she's making some inroads in communicating with the faculty as well to try to make arrangements for students for taking tests, for example. That's something new that we have, is we have this athletic academic advising team that is housed in the Kegley Center. And they're available for traveling with teams, to proctor examinations, to provide tutorial sessions. It's a relatively new feature at CSUB, and I think it's because we've reached this point of critical mass and interest in athletics and academics that has allowed this to come about. And
yeah, absolutely. Dr. LaFever, our guest, he's our faculty athletics rep. Now, this is your second year on the job now, right? Doing this. Right. What kind of got you, what made you decide, hey, I'm not busy enough being a professor and doing all this stuff. I'm going to add on this this role as faculty athletics rep. What kind of made you do that, and how much are you enjoying it?
Well, I'll tell you what brought me into this, but I'll answer your second question first. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and really the source of that enjoyment is being able to work with these student athletes in a more direct way and facilitate their progress. And that's actually what brought me into this role. 3 or 4 years ago, actually it was 4 years ago, I began working with a student athlete in my laboratory, a chemistry student that ultimately turned out to be the best chemistry student that I've encountered in nearly 20 years on campus. And I was thoroughly impressed with this individual. Her name was Ariana Sellis. She was on the track team. She had great success in the track team, but academically, she was, as I said, the best student I had encountered. And I was so impressed with her discipline, her motivation, just her drive to succeed, which eventually I came to realize that really came from her athletics to some extent. And so that was my first real direct experience with a student athlete. And when this role opened up, I thought, I want more of this. I want to deal with these student athletes. And so it was a real easy decision for me to apply.
Well, so far so good. Everything seems to be going well. You said you like it, and what kind of, real quick, just a few of the things you do maybe day to day for the the faculty athletics rep position.
There's a variety of functions associated with this, and really my primary role is to communicate with faculty when there's particular needs for student athletes. Have to make the arrangements for missed classes if there's competition. I have to in advance make sure that the faculty member is notified, so if there's any accommodations that need to or can be made to make those sorts of logistical coordinations. Really responding to student athletes on a regular basis. There's a variety of issues that come up, whether it be trying to get into courses, maybe some difficulty with a faculty member that won't allow them to make up an exam, those sorts. And so on a daily basis, there's little things. Sometimes I refer to them as brush fires, but generally they're pretty easy things to deal with.
Well, you know what? You had some great information today. I would like to definitely bring you back, maybe into the quarter, maybe even around graduation time, and we can maybe have some great data we can brag on about our student athletes. How's that sound?
I'd be glad to.
All right, Dr. Roy LaFever, our faculty athletics rep. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be in touch for sure.
Okay. Good.
All right, folks, we're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, Greg McCall will join us, CSB women's basketball head coach. Runners in second place in the WAC. They got 2 home games this week, and we'll talk to him about all that and more. Stick around. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the Big Dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
All session passes on sale now for $165 by calling 654-BLUE. And we're back here on Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. My thanks to Dr. LaFever, our faculty athletics rep, joining us in the last segment. And we'll have him on again, definitely to kind of brag about our student athlete success, maybe at the end of the quarter or the end of the school year as we get to graduation time. And it's good to talk about the successes off the court as well. And it's also good to talk about the successes on the court, and that's why this man is here. This is Greg McCall, head women's basketball coach. And Coach, welcome back to the show. And congratulations on. I know you wanted 2 games this past weekend. You got one, but you got the big one. I mean, you guys went up to Idaho. I want to talk about that game last Thursday first. You go up to Idaho, and I mean, I think everybody was not only I think people around the WAC were not only surprised you guys won, they were surprised that you won in the fashion you did. They won by 19 points. I mean, talk about that victory and just what made it so special on Thursday.
It was a really exciting game. Idaho, we knew that going in, and everybody knew in the conference that they were the team to beat. You know, they've been proven. They came to our place and really put it on us pretty well. I think they ended up beating us by like 23 points or something like that, and we were like, man, this is a really good team.
Yeah.
You know, we knew that they were good, but man, we didn't know they were that good, and so we've been preparing. You know, after that game, we just kind of changed our whole tone about the way we were going to play and how we were going to play defense, and we just changed our whole mentality about, you know, defense now, defense. And we went there, and, man, our girls came out ready. And that was a very exciting, you know, game. We led from start to finish. The girls were playing hard. We got a good flow of the game. And one of the things we've been telling our girls is that, you know, we got to make sure we limit our fouls, because if we start fouling, it slows down the game to the other team's pace. And we don't want that to happen. We're an up-tempo team, and we want that pace to continue to go. And that's one of the things that they did not do. They did not foul a lot, and the flow of the game was just going, and it just wore them down. And they got tired. They were tired really early in the first half. And we just kept the flow going of the game and kept getting more steals and kept getting easy transition buckets, and it helped us a lot.
You know, it seemed like you defensively as well limited their good looks. I mean, you forced them to take shots from the outside. They shot some awful number, like 20% from downtown. And I'm kind of looking at the Idaho fans' reaction to that game, and they just said we couldn't make any shots from the outside, and that's all we did. They shot a crazy amount of three-pointers. I mean, obviously that in the game plan to make them make shots from the outside.
Definitely, that was definitely part of the game plan. We wanted to really pressure them up, and our whole scheme on defense is try to keep the ball to one side of the floor. And if we can keep it over there more times that they can reverse the ball, which is what they love to do. They love to get that great ball reversal and get shots from the opposite side of the floor. And we tried to limit that as much as we could. And if we told our girls we have there's a 50-50 rule. We're making it to an 80-20, and on everything we do. It used to be loose balls. Let's make that ours. And we used to say that on that. And now we're saying that just by keeping the ball on one side of the floor. If we can do that 80% of the time, and that'll hurt teams. That'll help us a lot by keeping the ball on one side of the floor, and that's what we really tried to do. Once they started getting the ball reversal toward the end of the game, they really started to try to work hard to get that ball reversal, and they did a good job of knocking down some shots pretty late in the game. But by that time, we had it pretty much sealed.
And you guys played very well defensively in that game, but offensively as well. Another balanced game. Tiana Outland has been your leading scorer, and she's been rebounding well lately as well. But you've had 2-3 other players coming in with double digits as this season kind of progresses. I mean, offensively, that's got to be great at this time of the year to see other players stepping up. Definitely.
Melissa Sweat has always been our next go-to player. We like to get her the ball as well, too, just as much as Ty. She does a really good job for us. And then Deji Vines and Alyssa Shannon, Brooke Hinkins coming off the bench along with Shaquita Smith. And then Badabe Zampari, who's been playing, lights out, just rebounding and just giving us buckets here and there. And, she's had her moments in the spotlight, too, where she's just shined and ended up getting WAC Player of the Week. Mm-hmm. And so we have players that's been really stepping up and buying into everything. We've been able to go now 10 deep in our bench with Brittany Sims as well as Erica Williams. We even used them a lot in that game. Erica Williams hit a big shot. Brittany Sims plays some really good defense, and she's consistently getting better and growing as a person. I always say the best thing can happen to a freshman, they become sophomores. So she's starting to grow a little bit more. We're still working with her on her growth and maturity. But they're all stepping up pretty well.
Well, good stuff at this point of the year. You guys go to Seattle on Saturday. Unfortunately, you dropped that one. You won't say it, but I will. The officiating was bad. But I'll protect you, and I'll take that one. And so you put them on. They were on the line a lot. That seemed to be a difference in that one. But you guys obviously know you can play with Seattle. You beat them before. If you've seen them again in the conference tournament, you have a good shot against them. And then now this weekend, a couple games where you guys are in second place, and there's still a chance that now that you might have drawn up the roadmap of how to beat Idaho, people might be paying attention. So, I mean, how important are these games and keeping the girls focused as well, knowing that we've got 5 left and then the conference tournament? So try to keep them focused on these regular season games with the conference tournament in such close sight.
Yeah, Seattle, it was a lot of fouls being called, which, again, we just talked about it before in Idaho. We talked about us not fouling and getting into a rhythm and wearing teams down defensively because we're keeping the clock moving and keeping us moving, and we're getting a lot of easy steals. But it was also kind of an eye-opener for us as well, too, to let us know that we still got to make sure that we stand on top of the game plan and making sure that we stand within the scouting report and doing the things that we're asking them to do. Not saying that these girls are not by far. They are really, really trying. And they really tried in that Seattle game to make the adjustment to the officials. We have a sheet that that's about the toughness of a tough player, and one of the rules on there is making adjustments to the officials, and that's one of the things that we really, really tried to do in that game. And I kept telling our girls that, but it just didn't help in that game at all. So, but if just by looking at the score and looking at the foul count, you would have thought that Seattle would have probably beaten us by at least like 25 points, but only a 7-point loss. So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kansas City coming up on Thursday and Chicago State. These are teams you've had success against already. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Kansas City on Thursday night. I mean, what are they bringing into the Icardo Center, and what are some of the keys for you guys against them?
They're bringing in 2 great players, offensive players. One is a point guard, Elise O'Connor, and then they have a post player that's pretty good who's been putting up good numbers. Matter of fact, she just got Player of the Week in the WAC. And we went to their place. It was a tough place to play. Their atmosphere is great. Their band is on Brooke the whole time, whether she was on the bench or on the floor, and it just made the atmosphere really fun. But we did a good job defensively, and that was like I think our second game really starting to try to change things around on the defensive end. So we really going to have to really work hard on the point guard. She's really smart. She's really crafty. She gets to the foul line a lot. I think she's leading the WAC in free throw shooting. So we're going to have to do a good job against her as well as the post player. They shoot mostly all the shots. So those are the two key players we have to really key in on, and then making sure the other players are not doing the things that they're supposed to do.
How different is it? And you guys obviously made some adjustments against Idaho the second time around. Now you're facing these teams for the second time.
Yes.
How different is it as a coach, and how are the ladies kind of responding to the adjustments you're making? Because it seems like so far it's been working.
Yeah, they've responded really well. Like I said, every time now we've made the adjustments at the beginning of the season. It was about us really trying to score and about us having to put the ball in the basket, shooting great percentages. And we've been talking about, I think before, about what team is going to be able to run their half-court offense the best. And all those things have worked for us. So now we turned our focus on okay, defense.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what's going to win us the championship. So now it's going the second time around into the conference. I've been talking to our girls about the mental part of things. Who's going to be mentally strong, because it's a hard wear and tear on you,
Right.
not only physically but mentally. What team can bring in the mental energy on a single, every game, so that's what we've been really focused on, that along with the defense. And if we can do those two things now, turn our energies on to just staying focused mentally and be mentally strong, as well as continue to play defense. I keep telling them the mental part of it will carry you over physically.
Absolutely. And you guys have a couple of home games remaining this weekend, on the road the following weekend, and then one home game the following week, and then off to the conference tournament, where hopefully we'll be right near the top in those standings and those seeds. So, Coach, congrats on a nice weekend and a win over Idaho, and good luck this weekend against Kansas City and Chicago State.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be in touch again, and we'll get you on the program here again shortly. Greg McCall, women's basketball head coach, and when we step away, we're going to come back. We're going to talk some men's basketball. Brandon Barnes, who had totaled 27 points in the last two games for the Runners and really been one of the better scorers in the last couple of weeks, will join us on the program, and we'll talk about some of the adjustments that the men's team has made all of a sudden as the Runners have won 2 straight, looking for more this weekend. We'll talk with Brandon next when we come back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
I'm Lisa Kirsch. Coming up next week on Live Well, the trending health news. Plus, we're going to explore sleep issues, insomnia, sleep disorders, and much more with an expert and a patient currently dealing with the sleep disorders. Plus, our friends from the Bakersfield Heart Hospital will stop by with a special look at ladies' heart information during this month of heart health awareness. These stories and much more coming up on Live Well, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock, only on Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Madness is calling. The 2014 WAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament. March 12th through the 15th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. 16 teams battle through the brackets on their way to the Big Dance. Be there to see who will go home the big winner.
All session passes on sale now for $165 by calling 654-BLUE. We're back on Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. Head coach Greg McCall, women's basketball, joining us in the last segment. Dr. Roy LaFever joining us as well, our faculty athletics rep. Thanks to them. You can also catch this show anytime online at GoRunners.com as we continue talking hoops today, as it's getting to a very critical portion of the season for both men's and women's basketball teams. And the men's teams won 2 games in a row in conference play, and 3 of their last 4, starting to gain the conference standings as well, as we're joined now by redshirt junior forward Brandon Barnes. Brandon, thanks so much for joining us, man. Congrats on a great weekend. That must have felt good.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you guys had a couple opportunities earlier in the year to win back-to-back conference games. Didn't work out, but you finally put 2 back-to-back. What was that feeling like when you finally closed out the Seattle win and you got 2 conference wins and you swept the weekend?
It was great. Almost like a relief. Like you said, we tried to put something together, and we would probably split. We did it on the road as well, too. So, it was great to get both of those wins. We focused on it, too. We were like, man, we got to get both of them. So, it was a great feeling. I know your dad as coach has focused on this all year, but he keeps telling people this team is mentally strong because you guys have lost conference games probably every way imaginable in the first half of conference play. And he said, but this team is, we're going to turn it around and they're strong. How tough was it, though, when you guys did have those tough losses and you'd have late leads and they slipped, to stay focused? It really wasn't hard to stay focused, but it was hard to take those losses for sure. But to stay focused, it was pretty easy because, we knew that we wanted to win, and we knew that we could win, and we knew that we shouldn't have lost those games. So for us to, our focus was winning those games. So, we had to stay focused because we weren't trying to keep losing.
You guys had the lead in all the games that you lost, by the way. You had the lead in the second half at some point. So when you face these teams a second time, did it make you feel like, yeah, we can play with these guys. We're not afraid of them. We know that we had a chance to win last time.
Well, I think at the beginning of the conference season, I think we didn't really know what to expect. We felt that probably people would come at us hard because, they had something to prove, in which they did. And, we probably may have came into the game a little big-headed, to be honest with you. So, when we lost, it kind of humbled us a little bit. And then the second time around, now that we're playing them, it's like, man, we're not losing to these dudes again because we know that we're better. So, I guess so. I guess the first few games, when we played against those teams, we were a little bit nervous and, excited and all that.
It seems like now, you're looking at what's happened over the last few games. This team is for about the first half of action at Grand Canyon. You guys were being very aggressive, and then you kind of backed off from that a little bit, and it cost you the game there. But then the last couple, you've continued to be aggressive offensively, taking high percentage shots, defending very well. Have you kind of? You feel like the team's finally figured out the formula as here's what we got to do. We have to defend hard all game, and we have to, take high percentage shots and be aggressive on offense.
Yeah, I think so. And then we've played well before our 2 wins. I told the media, we've been playing well the past few games, 4 games. And 5 games actually, and we just didn't get the result. So we kept pushing in practice, kept working, and then we ended up winning these last 2. So guys have confidence going into the games, regardless if we lost or not. And the past 2 games, the difference was that we played to win. We didn't play not to lose. I think sometimes we get a lead and. Like Grand Canyon, I could feel it just kind of playing.
Right.
We got the lead, and then it was like, okay, well, we can't lose this game. Instead of just being aggressive and trying to go win the game, we settle for jump shots and things like that. We didn't try to get to the free throw line, which we did this weekend, and it paid off for us.
It seems like last year you returned this season as last year's returning leading scorer, but last year you were almost played more like a post player, more aggressive, going to the hoop. You're very tough to defend when you drive because of your size and strength, and it seems like in these last few games you've gone back to that. You reverted back to that more as Brandon, the post player, as opposed to being the wing guy. I mean, and that seemed to served you pretty well here lately.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot to Coach Conroe, and he's kind of like my mentor, guy that I talk to a lot, and he was telling me try to focus on my first basket being a layup, and I feel like I'm at the rim a lot, so I focused on it, and I've been having pretty good games just by trying to get my first basket as a layup, and I have been more aggressive because he told me that's what makes me special. I don't have to really stand out there and shoot jump shots, and even though I can hit a jump shot, if you leave me open, I'll hit it. But I'm best at my game, and I'm best for the team when I drive. So I've been on the hunt, to be more aggressive because it helps our team out.
And it seems like you got to take a little more risk when you're doing what you're doing now. I mean, you're in there, you're trying to find openings, you're pounding inside a little bit, but it just seems like it's been helpful for you, and even to have another guy underneath there with Ali Ahmed, who's played very well. You guys kind of working together. That extra pass has seemed to be a big factor for the team here lately.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me driving has created more assists for me, and that's something in my game that I've wanted to show. I feel like I can get my teammates involved more than I have been, and me driving is people help. I create a lot of help driving to the basket, and my teammates are wide open. I try to get it to them whenever I can, and they make the shot. So they give me the assist, and then they make the shot. So I'm thankful for them being there, and Ali has been playing great. Along with the other people. I've given Corey a couple assists as well because he's been playing, pretty much off the charts right about now. So. Driving has helped our team for sure.
Let's look at this point of the year. At this point of the year, the team, and I think I kind of revert back to last year. You guys had a tough loss at Pan Am last year. Big lead, it went away, and then you lost in overtime. And then after that, I think the team closed out the season on a 5-game winning streak. This year is similar. I think you were playing well, then you lost the game at Grand Canyon, and then these last two have been good. So hopefully it's the start of another streak. But I'm seeing so many other guys out stepping up. You talked about Corey Hall, who was shooting, I think, maybe 12% from the 3-point range going into this weekend, and he hits 3 big ones in the game. And then obviously Craig Jones has been strong here lately, Ali as well. Tyrell has been coming on too. I mean, this has to be exciting as a team member, knowing that a lot of guys are starting to play good basketball in an important time of year.
Yeah, being around my dad for a long time, most of his teams start playing well at the end of the year, and a lot of people that didn't really play well at the beginning of the year start stepping up, and I'm one of those guys. I've always been one of those guys in my career, and like you said, Tyrell's been stepping up, Corey's been stepping up. You gotta give them guys credit. They go from not playing a lot, and then they just stay focused. My dad was like, when you get your chance, don't mess it up. And Corey got his chance, Craig got his chance, Ty got his chance, and they haven't been messing it up. So I look forward to them to get more minutes and helping us out. So. They have a good mindset. They have a positive attitude toward the team, and they deserve it.
Yeah,
I think so. They're helping us big time for sure.
How much has I was telling Coach after one of the games after Corey hit those 2 3-pointers, he used to always joke that he was the best shooter on the team. And how much has he talked about those 3-pointers since making them?
Oh, he hasn't really talked about it very much.
Really? Okay.
He was a little excited. The Seattle game, they labeled him a shooter. They were like shooter. So he was a little excited about that. But other than that, he didn't really talk about it. He's in a very focused mindset right now. Just talking to him and. I think he's really, he's thankful that he's getting the opportunity to play a lot right now. He's not trying to mess it up, so he's trying to continue to make shots. So.
Trying to be humble as possible. You guys go heading this weekend to Kansas City on Thursday, Chicago State on Saturday. Kansas City, that one hurt the last time around. They beat you on a 3-pointer, pretty much at the buzzer about 3 seconds ago. So is there a little extra, revenge factor, I guess, in this game with Kansas City because that one stung so much the first time around?
Yeah, it was. I missed that dunk that game. I still think about it, but if I made that dunk, the game probably been over.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a revenge. We played well that game. That's what really hurt so much. They beat us at the buzzer, and a couple defensive miscues at the end of the game, kind of not talking, and then we get beat at the buzzer. So, we owe them one. We're paying back a lot of teams that beat us. So. We were thankful that we got the sweep on Seattle, and now we got to go split the rest of them with these other teams.
Absolutely, and you go to Chicago State on Saturday. We were talking about Corey Hall. He's a Chicago guy. He gets an opportunity to play at home. Have you talked to him about how excited he is to be back in Chicago and play on Saturday?
Yeah, well, actually, I was hanging out with him on Sunday, and we were Skyping his family. and they're really excited for the game. So I think there's going to be a lot of people there, rooting Corey on. So hopefully, he continues his stellar play, and he makes his family proud and his friends proud. And I think where Chicago State is where he's from. The side of
South side,
Chicago he's from. So I think he's really excited. I mean, he plays with those guys all the time, and him and Coach Dildy know each other. I mean, we know Coach Dildy as well. So I mean, it's a lot of emotion playing that game, just especially the first time. I mean, Coach Dildy was on my dad's staff,
right.
And he's kind of like an uncle to me too. So I mean, it's a lot of emotion, but I mean, we got to get this win. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll put that aside.
You guys jumped up a couple spots in the standings as well to 5th, tied with Kansas City, which will be determined on Thursday. So obviously you're making some moves. This conference is still wide open. So how much has that helped, even though you had the slow start in conference play, to know everyone was beating everybody in the conference, and there's still the conference tournament to play?
Well, it's great. I mean, right now we're trying to get seeding right.
Yeah.
We're trying to win as many games as possible and play our best, toward the end of the year, which I feel like we're on the right path of doing. And, for us, I feel like I'd hate playing us in the first round, whoever it is, and, I hate playing us in the semifinals. I hate playing us in the championship. So, I mean, we're rolling right now. If we keep, the past 2 games, I think we're averaging like 19.5 assists.
Yeah.
I think Seattle, we had 20 assists and 8 turnovers. I mean, if we keep that up, we're gonna be a tough team to beat. I mean, with everybody scoring, I think we may have like 4 or 5 dudes in double figures to both games.
Yeah.
So I mean, when we play like that, we're really tough to beat. And we got guys, like I said, we got guys playing well, and I'm starting to find my way. Hopefully I keep playing this way and just stay calm and stay humble. And then everything else will take care of itself.
Let's hope it does for sure. Brandon Barnes here on Roadrunner Rundown. Hey, good luck this weekend, and I'll be there with you along the way for hoping another exciting weekend of action.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Brandon Barnes here on Roadrunner Rundown. And again, the runner is on the road at Kansas City on Thursday and also at Chicago State on Saturday afternoon. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. And you can catch the show anytime online at GoRunners.com. Hey, a special on-location edition of the program next week will be live on campus. More details coming on that. So join us next Tuesday as well for another edition of Roadrunner Rundown. Follow us on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/CESUB Roadrunners. On Twitter and Instagram at CESUB Athletics. Again, show online anytime at GoRunners.com. Have a great week, folks. We'll catch you next time. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.